Okay, so you probably read the title. This is the Sport of Hatball. So, to begin with, let's go over what even is Hatball, right? So, Hatball is a sport, a team sport, so it's just like, football, soccer, basketball, any of those sports. It's played on a field, outdoors, a field that is 200 feet by 50 feet. So it's an American measurement. Now, it is not known about by very many people. Matter of fact, almost nobody knows about it. I know maybe 4 people. So it's not a very popular sport. If you search it up, you're not going to find anything on it. I checked on YouTube, nothing. Okay? It comes up dry. So there aren't any tutorials on how to play it, I thought. So I'm deciding to make one. So to begin with, how do you throw... what is the goal of the game? Well, the goal is to get a little tiny ball, about the size of a tennis ball, into a bucket that's, behind the goal. So how do you do it? Well, you throw the ball with a hat. So how do you throw a ball with a hat? Well, you see this? This is like a hat, right? You got this little piece right here, generally. So you're going to take this back end, and you're basically going to fold it behind this end. So it should kind of look like that. And then you put the ball right about there, and then you just kind of sort of fling it around like you're throwing something. And the ball basically just catapults out of it. Pretty simple. So that's how you throw it. So how does the game work? Well, for starters, you got the field. So let's just make a square. Okay, there you go. Then you got 2 lines each side. It's not going to be a very good drawing, by the way. So, this area, so obviously this whole thing, 200 feet. This area is 200 feet. From here, all the way down to right there. That's 200 feet. And then from here, up to here, that's 50 feet. Now from here, over to here, that's 20 feet. And then same on this side. Okay? Then you've got an exact center point. So, what about there? This is the exact center of the field. Again, it doesn't look great. It's the exact center. Okay, as close as you can get. Then, 20 feet from that center line, you've got 2 more lines. Okay, so this is what your field basically looks like. Now you got 2 buckets on either side. And so, yeah, you got those 2 buckets. Then you also got 2 buckets here. So this is out of bounds. 2 buckets here. Up there. 2 buckets down here. Okay, so these buckets, only one team can score on these buckets each. These buckets, this says no team. Anybody can get the ball in those buckets. If the ball goes into one of these buckets down here, the ones that any team can score on, so these ones, that's worth 2 points to whatever person scored it. Then if the ball goes in here, it's 2 points to the opposite team than the side of that it's in. So let's say that that the goalie on this side is team A. The goalie on this side is team A. If the ball is scored in, it's a team B. It doesn't matter if an A player shot the ball and it got in. It's rewarded to B team. Okay? That's kind of an important part to know. So that's like most of what you need to get. These ones are worth 4. These ones are worth 2. Now, this zone from here, I'll color it in. So this zone is called the neutral zone. And then this zone is called the end zone. These 2 zones. Now in the end zone, there is a goalie. The goalie has to be in the end zone. He's got a tennis racket and a hat in the other hand. Okay? So he's got 2 hands. One a hat, one a tennis racket. And his goal is to stop the ball from going in. Now you might say, wait a minute, can't he just put the tennis racket over the bucket? And you would be right, the bucket's about the size of a tennis racket. So, there's a little tiny area that's about 3 or 4 feet from the bucket on each side, where the guy can't even get a toe in. It's a penalty if he puts a toe in. And so, this area is off limits. No player can even go into this area. This area is an off limits area. So, and it includes the bucket. So no player is allowed to jump over into the bucket. Okay, so it's just basically a circle in there. So, that's basically all you need to know. But then, okay, so how does the game actually work? What do you do? Well, there are 7 players on each side. So there are 7 players on each side. So 14 players on the field at once, 7 on each side. Okay? 7 players from each team are allowed on the field. Okay, now there are 8 players on a team. No backups, nothing like that, usually. It's kind of the rule, is no backups. One of these players is a special team. I'll get to him in a second. But the rest of these guys, they're the 7. So, in the 7, there's 5 offense, 2 defense. And you might say, whoa, that seems really one-sided. 5 guys going at 2. And yeah, one of these guys is a goalie. So, really only 1. But it's a little bit different than that. It's not 5 guys. So, first off, you're not allowed to walk with the ball. Okay? I don't know if I yet said that, but yeah. You're not allowed to walk with the ball. So let's imagine that this is the end zone, okay? This is the end zone down here. I'm going to color that. And then here is the line to the neutral zone, right? And then, okay, I'm going to make the neutral zone, green. And then here's the rest of the area. So, basically, that's just the rest. Hey, Italia. Italia. So, basically, before the whistle's blown from the ref to say go, you got all of these guys are going to be behind this line. So, you got behind this line, you got, I'll just draw 5 of these guys. And these 5 guys are the center, the guard, the safety, the wing, and the backwards. So, the ball is, let's just say, placed right here. Here's the midpoint line. The ball's placed at the midpoint line in the beginning every single time. Sorry, I'm too lazy. And then, let's just say here's the neutral line. So the neutral line has an effect, but for a different reason. Okay, so the center runs at the ball. His job is to grab that ball, and then, Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change where it is, because that isn't going to help us. Okay, so here's the center point. And then here's that place, whatever it's called. Okay, so basically the ball's placed right here at the beginning. Okay, then the ref blows his whistle. The center starts running at this ball, and he's going to grab it. And the guard is going to follow the center, and what the guard's going to do is he's going to block. Okay, because the other team is also running at the ball, obviously. There's no offense and defense to start off with. Matter of fact, they don't switch at all. They're the same group of people throughout the entire game. So basically, there are people running at it. Because you're not allowed to take steps, you might think, oh, so, all he has to do is just not take steps. But if let's just say the guard doesn't do his job, he slips and falls here, he's sitting back here. A guy could come up, let's just say the other guard comes up, and he could just check this guy. And this guy could fall over, take 2 steps, it's a penalty. Okay? He can check, anybody can check anybody in the neutral zone. So this area right here. In the neutral zone, anybody can check anybody. Outside of the neutral zone, it's a little bit different. But inside, anybody can check, anybody can block, anybody can screen, any of that stuff. Now, so the center and the guard, we got those guys. The wing's going to run forward. The wing's going to run as far as he can. He's going to try and catch the ball. Okay? So is the backward. But this is just usually. The backward catches it earlier because you want one guy to be in the end zone. That way you can just throw it to this guy, then this guy can throw it to this guy, and it can be a goal. So once you get in the end zone, you can walk, but you have to get in the end zone, as I've already said, and you can't step out of the end zone. You can't throw the ball out of the end zone. Once the ball goes in the end zone, you can't take it out. That's a penalty. The safety is basically the same as the guard, but he blocks further ahead, so he blocks for these guys. Okay, so that's all of your offensive players. Your defensive players are fairly more obvious. Their jobs are basically just defend if the other team gets the ball, but so are these guys' jobs, so it's kind of vague when I say that. But anyways, so there are a couple times when the three main rules don't work. So the three main rules are the ball's not allowed to touch the ground, the ball's not allowed to touch a player, and what's the last one? Oh yeah, a player's not allowed to walk with the ball. So so let's just say center gets the ball, he throws the ball, okay, but it hits the ground, but it bounces, man. It bounces high, and it just so happens to go into the backwards hands. The backwards now can run with this ball all that he wants. He can run, okay, because it touched the ground once. This is called a shimmy, by the way. So if the ball bounces once, it doesn't roll, it doesn't like dribble to the ground. It bounces once straight into some guy's hat. He can run with the ball, but also people can kind of push him, and if the ball is knocked out of his hands, it's a penalty. So if he gets the ball, right, if somebody has the ball during a shimmy, when the ball has touched the ground once, that's a shimmy, as I've already said. If somebody has the ball during a shimmy, any sort of blocking can happen, stuff like that, any sort of blocking. And that's what you're trying to aim for. But if he gets past the end zone, right? If the ball carrier gets past the end zone in a shimmy, he cannot shoot. Okay, he can pass it off, and that guy can shoot, but he can't. But let's just say he just crosses the end zone, and then the ball falls out of his hands. That's worth 1 point. And then he can pass it off to another guy, and that guy can shoot and try and get the ball in for another 5 points. But if that guy misses, okay? So if this guy makes it in, that's worth 1 point. Okay? Just getting that ball into this area. He can now pass it off to, let's just say, the wing, and now the wing wants to shoot the ball to get 5 more points, okay? He can get 5 more points by getting it in. If he misses, then there are no points, okay? That's what you gotta understand about a shimmy. The other option is called a fly. A fly is when, let's just say, the center's command is really bad. Basically, he throws it way over the wing's head, right? He throws it like that high over, like 10 feet over. It really doesn't matter how high. There's no real effect, but it's just so far over that, there's no way he could jump to get it, right? And the ball just stops dead in its tracks, or it rolls, okay? It has to do that. It has to go over this guy's head so high that he couldn't get it, and it has to roll. It can't bounce at all. Then somebody can run to go and grab the ball, okay? And whoever gets the ball then either has the option to try and they basically get a chance to kind of like snap the ball back. It's not like a normal snap where it's between the legs, it's kind of beside the leg, but he gets this chance to snap the ball back to our special team guy with a tennis racket or some sort of a racket. Now this guy, they get the option. It's not really an option, actually. Basically, the guy with the tennis racket, his job is to hit the ball out of the end zone, okay? Beyond the end zone. If he doesn't make it, there are a bunch of guys standing down there. So basically, let's just say center gets the ball here. He throws it way over Wing's head. The ball rolls to here. Wing gets it. The ball's kept right there. It's basically whoever touches it first gets it. But anyways, the ball is kept there. And then, let's just say here's the end zone. Okay? The ball is kept there. The wing is placed here, or whoever you want, to snap the ball back to the special team. The ball cannot go into anybody else's hands. Everybody else is thrown way back here, behind the middle point line. So this is the middle point, by the way. Again, 4 guys. There. So that's where everybody else is. Everybody else has to be behind this. Special team, so he hits this ball. His goal is to get it beyond the end zone line. So he's trying to hit it way back here. If he doesn't, there are 5 guys lined up along here, ready to grab the ball and run with it. They're allowed to run until basically they get touched. Once they're touched by the other team, that's where the ball is placed, and it's an onside at that point. If it's past the neutral zone line, it's called an onside. So there you go. That's the basics. Hope you guys enjoyed. Ask me if you want more. See you guys later.